Hello and welcome to Around the Clock. Today we are in the Ashland Public Library and we are speaking with our newest library director. She's been in place about 6 months, Meena Jain. Meena, welcome to Around the Clock.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So Meena, tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll start talking more about the library and what you're doing here.
Sure. So I live locally, like not in Ashland, but about 15, 20 minutes away. And my first degree was in social work. So I worked as a social worker till I had my kids. And then I accidentally became a children's librarian at our local elementary school. And the rest is just totally history. You know, I love libraries. I love reading. My kids, you know, were in the same school with me and they got to see, you know, how much literacy affected their friends and teachers and everything. So it's just been a wonderful, wonderful ride.
So I have to ask, how do you accidentally become a children's librarian?
Well, I had been reading for my my daughter's preschool class in their library, and the librarian was, you know, had retired, and she had just started. Maya had just started first grade, so I was like, I don't want to work. I just, you know, I want to have some time downtime, and But several people had said, oh, you should apply. So I walked into the school and I said, hey, you know, what do you think about this? And they had me write my name and number on a piece of paper, and then they called me for an interview. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to work, you know. And yet it all just came together and it was fabulous. And I have loved children's literacy ever since.
Fun. So now you're here at the Ashland Library. Mm-hmm. You've been at a couple of other libraries. How are you feeling about being here? You've been here, what, 6 months, 7 months?
Yeah, just about 6 months. I'm coming from the Cary Library in Lexington, and so it's just a huge difference in terms of size and scale and everything. But I found that a large library like that, which I loved my job there, but you can't get to know the people as well because, you know, so many people have so many needs. I feel like this sort of almost neighborhood library is the perfect sweet spot for me. Like, you get to know people, you get to know the collection, your staff is really close with the people that come in the door. It's just really a perfect fit for me, aside from the fact that it's only 20 minutes from home.
And you've jumped in with both feet. You've been doing programs with the library since you got here. We're working on the strategic plan for the library. Let's start there. What is that, a strategic plan for a library?
So the strategic plan, every library has to do it, and every organization should do it. It's a 5-year plan for where you're going in the next 5 years. Ours expires this year, so we of course have to do a new one. And it's actually a really good time because we're coming out of COVID.
Right.
We've had some serious, come to Jesus moments type of things of like what works and what doesn't. And we've also discovered that there's so many more things that we can do because we've had to switch to technology, and, you know, and we're also learning the things that were left behind because of that technology. Okay. So it's a really good time to sort of figure out where we're going next. And so we put a committee together. I know you're on it.
Yep, I'm happy to be a part of it.
And you know, we have a significantly diverse collection of people.
It's a great group of people from a lot of different areas.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly what I wanted, because I wanted to hear every voice. And you know, having somebody Brazilian on the committee and having somebody African American on the committee and having somebody in the schools was so important to me. And so I was very thrilled that people just jumped on board. So we had this conversation about what kind of you know, what did we want to do? What would our survey accomplish? And the survey really is about what does the community want from the library in the next 5 years. And without the community involvement, we're just guessing. You know, we're just throwing Jell-O at a tree and hope it sticks. I don't know if
I've ever heard that expression.
You'll hear it a lot more with me around, because that sort of seems to be my MO. But I don't want to do that for here. I want people to tell me what they want, and I want to see if we can, you know, bring it to them. And so the survey is just the first step in that, and I'm really excited about it because I feel like it's such a good survey.
It's very thorough, but I think in a way that people will be willing to take the time. So talking about the survey, how can people participate and do the survey?
So the survey's online. It's we can get you a link for it, and it's also will be hopefully heading to like the community center and the food pantry and, you know, other places that we can do outreach, and we can actually bring it to to the community.
Right.
We are working with the schools on finding maybe 5 minutes where every student can do it, because the great thing about our survey is it's in 5 or 6 different languages, and we have one for teens and for children.
Nice.
So we really want to hear from every voice, like I said, but also every age, every population, every demographic, and we wanted to make it as easy as possible for that to happen.
So what's the time frame? The survey's out there now. How long will it be available for the public to participate?
So we just posted it yesterday, and we've already gotten quite a great response.
Oh, good.
But we wanted people to have plenty of time, and we know it's the holidays, so we gave it till January 15th.
Okay, so they still have about 2.5 months to
Correct.
go take the time. Once the survey is completed, what will be done with that information?
So then we come back together as a committee and sort of read what the data and see what the responses were and what the comments were and what does the community want. And then we start thinking, how can we put this together to make like maybe 5 goals for the next year? You know, if this community wants more books and materials, how can we make that happen? If they want more technology, if they want us to be doing more outreach, those kind of things. We really need to put that together into our goals, and then also how we're going to make it actionable. Not just, oh, it would be great if we did this thing, but how are we going to do it?
The steps to get to those plans.
Right.
Great, great. So it sounds like once the survey's back and we have the plan created, we may have to do this again so we can let people know what happened.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to chat with you
Now,
anytime.
But you're also having other things going on. What do you have coming up for the holidays?
So, well, we have lots of programs, as you know, and you can find everything on our website, on the library website. But one of the things that we're really excited about is the Friends of the Ashland Library are putting on a children's illustrators auction. It's going to be their winter fundraiser. And basically about 50 illustrators have donated art and books to the library or to the Friends for them to auction off in December. So from December 1st to December 8th, people can bid on, I can't say you'll win, bid on art from some amazing illustrators from all over the country.
Well, what's interesting is you were sharing with me before we sat down to do this interview, and I just randomly picked on one, and it was someone who was based in Belgium, and I was like, wow, that was cool.
That must have been Pascal Lemaitre.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he actually sent his art, it's an original piece of art, to New York,
Okay.
to his author, and they both signed the art, and then she sent it to the library.
Wow.
Yeah. And we had a couple of instances of that. Baljinder Kaur signed her book, and then the author sent a book plate for the book as well. So, you know, people are so excited. The Children's Illustrators community is just incredibly kind and generous, and they love
Very nice.
libraries.
Very nice. So you're bringing experience from a lot of other background and other libraries to Ashland. What do you think, you know, you've been here about 6 months, what are the biggest needs for the Ashland Library that you see?
I think, I guess I feel like I'm not completely there yet in terms of knowing, because
Okay.
I need to learn more, I need to hear more, I need to partner more, not me, the person, but the library needs to partner more with our community organizations to see, you know, what's already out there, how
Right.
can we fill it in, how can we be the community center we want to be when there's already a community center.
Right.
So
Right.
we, you know, some libraries consider themselves sort of like the living room of the community, or, you know, and I'm like, yeah, we could definitely do that, but where are we missing? Where's the community missing? So that's where I'm learning and listening about what do Ashlanders want? What do they feel like is not
Right.
here already?
Right.
Because, you know, Ashland is amazing. It does a
Yeah,
lot.
well, we know that. We think it's pretty amazing.
But I'm just learning it, and I'm just like, wow, you have
Yes.
so many, you know, things that some other, you know, communities have or don't have. It doesn't really matter, but for the size community you have, I think you have a lot of resources. So
Yeah.
my thing is, how can we maximize those resources and make sure that people come into the library and know what's here, but also learn what's available to them?
Right, right. Well, that's great. Well, very exciting. So I'm going to let you go, but before I do that, I have one question I ask all first-time visitors to Around the Clock. And that is there something about you, Meena Jain, that not many people may know but that you'd be willing to share with our viewers.
Actually, I'm really glad you asked that
Ooh.
because before we started this, you had asked me to pull out some of my favorite books.
Right.
And I went to my bookshelf where I have all my signed books.
Ooh.
And I pulled out 3. So I pulled out Unaccounted Earth by Jhumpa Lahiri,
Okay.
The Phantom Toll Booth by Norton
Such a
Juster,
fun book.
Jules Pfeffer,
Yep.
and Good Luck with That by Kristen Higgins, who I just love. But I wanted to tell this story about Unaccustomed Earth because Jhumpa Lahiri grew up in the same neighborhood as my husband.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So one Thanksgiving, we were visiting my mother-in-law for Thanksgiving, and we saw Jhumpa Lahiri's parents walking in the neighborhood. So we literally went up to them and said, "Is Jhumpa home? Can we come and meet her?" And she was, and we did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we literally, ran to the bookstore. We bought every book they had by her, and we had them signed. Of course, she signed them. She was so nice and so gracious.
Talk about true fandom.
Oh, we were embarrassing, to say the least. So, yeah, she did sign my book. I don't know if you can see that. I'll tell you another little story about this, if you don't mind.
Nope, go ahead.
Because she grew up in the same neighborhood as my husband, and
And where was that?
It was in Rhode Island.
Okay.
In South Kingstown, and they went to high school together. And Shailesh is my husband, is convinced that some of the characters in her book, The Namesake, which was made into a movie, were
Okay.
based on their neighborhood kids.
Oh, so
Yeah.
he thinks he's in one of them.
He thinks he might be. Which I
That's
think
fun.
is fabulous.
That's fun. That's
Yeah.
fun. I don't know that I've ever read anything by her.
Oh
I
my
may
gosh,
have to
you should
check
totally
it out.
should. She
Okay.
is so good. But I think that for the story sort of is funny to me, and it has a personal connection.
Yeah.
But it also to me means that, like, we all have connections to literacy in some way.
Right.
We never know when our neighbor's going to write a book or write an article that really resonates with people.
Yeah.
So this was a personal story for me, but I think a lot of us have them.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you. We look forward to going on to the website to do the survey, but also looking for the auction in December.
Great. I'll send you that link as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. Well, Meena, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Absolutely.
And again, we are here in the newer section of the Ashland Public Library, speaking with Meena Jain, the Library Director for the Ashland Public Library. And we'll be back with more around the clock. Wonderful.